Continuing to chase off some of these French columns. Redeploy this cav here. And so now you see the counter battery fire begin in earnest with the British guns. Look at all these angry, hungry-looking Prussian devils. God, I didn't even notice there's all these guys back here too. Wow, man. Hello and welcome, YouTube fans and friends, to another Army review here in Scourge of War, Waterloo Remastered. I'm Bank60s, your humble and gracious host. Thank you once again for joining. This is part of my ongoing alternate history replay of the full Battle of Waterloo with the full Allied army, including the Prussians that you see here. In my actual playthrough, we're at a critical phase in the Battle of Waterloo. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, and the Prussians have arrived. I thought this was going to be a really good opportunity for us to take a closer look at what Prussia's 4th Corps, under the command of General Bülow, was able to bring to the field on this afternoon of June 18th. And here is Bülow himself with an aide-de-camp and his troops just behind him. And the vanguard of his corps' advance is a cavalry contingent. And I'll tell you, I have a very basic knowledge of the troops of this period. I don't have a very detailed knowledge, but they do a great job of baking in some historical strengths and weaknesses into the stats, as we found in our past army reviews. I'm really curious to learn, before I get them into action, exactly what I'm working with here. Landwehr cavalry of volunteer quality. It looks like these are light cavalry, not super light like the chasseurs à cheval, but similar perhaps. Yes. Well dressed, I'll say. Volunteer quality. Same across the line with this Landwehr cavalry. Landwehr and the color blue and the color, I think, really dark blue. Landwehr militia infantry is kind of something I can remember that by. So not great on the cavalry quality here in the vanguard to start with. But maybe these hussars, yeah, the Hussaren regiment now, these are just a little bit better. Good. And then we've got our horse artillery. Wow, horse artillery battery with 6-pounders and 7-inch howitzers. Wow, okay. Probably have to keep the howitzers back. We'll take a look at some of the detailed stats for each of these squadrons, regiments. You can see here, horsemanship, not great. Edged weapons, not great. Next, squadron, same. And it's really pretty much all the same all across the line. We'll switch to this unit, which has a horsemanship of 55 and an edged weapons of 70. Calisthenics is pretty good, which is, I believe, a good rate for basically the endurance of the horses in the unit. I'm not sure about that. You might want to check me, but I'm pretty sure that's what that represents. See all of them. And then you have these other two units here. Again, not great, and they're volunteer quality, meaning they'll probably run and route that much more quickly. So what's to know for certain is this cavalry that comes in at the beginning, thank God there's all this artillery here for them, because Otherwise, they would probably have a hard time on the attack. We're going to have to use them smartly with their attached artillery. There was something I wanted to take a closer look at. These 7-inch howitzers stats. Marksmanship. Firearms. Wow, look at that. And they'll be able to fire for a pretty good long time. Okay. Shell is what they fire most of. That can devastate enemy cavalry formations pretty well. So these 7-inch howitzers will probably come in handy, although, you know, the detailed use of them, tactically speaking, will largely be left to the AI, but I'm glad I've got them. Wow, looky here with a 10-inch howitzer. Look at that. Okay. And a 12-pound cannon. Ah, here we go. This is our 4th Army Corps. The core artillery is why we have heavy guns up like this. Same with this battery here. Made up mostly of your 12-pounders. And, yeah, just all 12-pounders along. And a 5.5-inch howitzer. Okay. Boy, I like this Prussian artillery. So I have to say I'm impressed by what I've got as far as guns. We were at a significant disadvantage in artillery when the battle began. But with guns like this added to our side, I believe we're really going to be able to tear a path through this French flank in the battle to come. We'll have to see for sure, but having these guns is great. And this heavy artillery here that you see right in front of you, the 4th Corps Reserve Artillery, is going to be great for when we're able to push forward far enough to grab a nice high ridge or plateau, park these bad boys up there, let them fire away at whatever is out in the field in front of them, and I believe we'll be doing a great service for our cause in that. Okay, we'll shift over to our infantrymen. Here you see that Prussian dark colored blue or black is the standard uniform color really all across the line. You've seen it in other past videos. I like to look at it up close. The way that they've done the sprites here, certainly want to just give compliments to the development staff once again for that. Norb and his team did a bang-up job on sprites. Let's look at stats for this unit. It's just regular quality. So this infantry, these guys know what they're doing. Okay, they can move and fight well in close order, but they're just as good or better in open order. So good dual-purpose formation right here. They could fight as skirmishers and in line and in column by division and in assault capacity. Their weapons skill, their edged weapons is 80. Marksmanship is pretty darn good. Firearms also pretty darn good. And they could probably last a while on the line firing for a long time altogether. The 2nd Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, von Gertingen Brigade, firing a Model 1782 Prussian-made musket. Now here are, I think, maybe our... Oh no, these guys are just as good. Yeah, wow. Von Gertringen Brigade. We're going to have to remember this. Fusilier Battalion. These troops probably... Oh, wow, looky here. Okay, so this Fusilier Battalion is almost like a light infantry battalion. Excellent. Boy, these are good troops. They really are. All right. So we got to feel good about our lead regiment, 15th Infantry Regiment. Now, next up, the first Schlesisches Landwehr Regiment under Major Gustav von Fischer. These are, as I talked about, your Landwehr troops who are more, volunteer, lower quality fighting animals, much less effective combat troops. As you can see across the board, their close order fighting and movement is not as good. Open order, nowhere near that. Probably going to keep them in closed order if we can. Edged weapons, not great. Firearms, not great at all. They'll be able to hold the line for a while if they're tired. That's good. And it looks like this 3rd regiment of the line, or of this brigade, the 2nd Landwehr Regiment, will be of similar quality. Yep. And then you have this brigade's, I believe this brigade's artillery, which is lined up in this unique Prussian column by division formation. You can see here, again with 7-inch howitzers and 6-pounders across the line. Okay, we move on to the more colorful cavalry that is in residence here behind the von Gertering Brigade, if I'm saying that right. If I'm butchering it, I apologize. Good seasoned Husarens, 144 of them. Same here. Although you'll see here, they're pretty much meant for fighting other light cavalry, maybe, and also chasing down retreating infantrymen and artillery. Still not, they're very colorful, but still maybe not so great. All right, so these regulars are a little different. These guys, this first squadron, the 1 Escadron, is quite good. And here we have a couple of squadrons of Lancers, or Ulanen, who are also quite good in open order. So if they're out there charging, they'll do pretty well. And even in close order too. Edged weapons, not great. If they're up against other heavy cavalry, they will not do all that well, most likely. So again, you have a brigade of cavalry here. Looks like it's really good and solid for infantry support. Here we have more. Same Hussars. And more Ulanen here and here. Our Lancers against their Lancers will be interesting, because I happen to know that the entire Young Guard Cavalry Division has some really good Lancer units in it. We'll have to see how they match up, probably. Okay, so you've got the rest of the Prussian Cav contingent that looks to be all good, the Landwehr, relatively poor quality infantry support. And so you have to consider that as you're deciding how you're going to use them tactically. Over here, let's look at this brigade next. Yes, these black flag troops up front, along with these gray and green clad troops, I think these are better. Yeah, here are your regulars. Here, here, and here. These guys have got open order of 120. The 18th Infantry Regiment's Fusilier Battalion, dressed in their green. That's pretty cool. They'll be important out there. And then you have these other two regular line battalions that, again, are pretty skilled. Firearms order, yeah, these guys are pretty good. Any one of these Prussian, quote-unquote, frontline battalions in each brigade, or frontline regiments in each Prussian brigade, which both, I think, Anglos and French Francophiles would think of more as a division. It's a brigade in the Prussian organization structure. But each one of these, with this front regiment, is pretty powerful. And when they've got them lined up 3 deep in assault column like this, and there's artillery close enough and maybe a little bit of cavalry like that, it's really a great little tactical formation for making an attack. Major Göring Johann von Kapeller's Hack Brigade. Again, regular troops that form the frontline columns. All of that good, solid, regular infantry quality here. And then making up the rear areas, the kind of the more meat shieldy type units, you might say. And it pretty much works the same for all of them across the line. Not a whole lot of detail in the Prussian units, doesn't look like. 6-pounders, 6-pounders. 12-pound, 6-pounder. 6-pounder. Okay, that's a big battery of 6-pounders. 7-inch howitzer again, matched with 6-pounders in this battery. 7-inch howitzers, matched with 6-pounders in this battery as well. And I think the thing that I would say on top of what I've mentioned already is that within each of these different units that are overall of lesser fighting quality, there are plenty of hero troops and good soldiers who know how to get the job done. It's just that they're surrounded by a lot of other young men who are not that way, and there are quite a few more of them than there are of the real good apples in there, and it just kind of affects the entire unit's combat ability in that way. But the Prussians right here have a very potent force as they've marched onto the field at Waterloo, poised to threaten Napoleon's right flank. So again, I thought I would do a quick army review of the Prussians as my game continues here in June 18, 1815, the Alt Waterloo experience with me, Bank 60s. Hope that you have enjoyed this army review. We're going to be getting back to part 6 of Alt Waterloo in our next video installment. I hope to see you there. If you like this content and enjoy it, please click that thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel, Alternate History Gaming. Love it if you did that. And hit the bell notification to find out the next time I drop a video for you. Until next time, I'm Bank 60s. Later.